Good afternoon, Madam Chairman. Glenn Gromann, 2201 Northwest Corporate Boulevard, Boca Raton, Florida, Chairman of the Downtown Boca Raton Advisory Committee, here to report on the meeting which took place on November 20th, 2013. We were tasked with an agenda item to address the pedestrian signage program, which is sort of a recurring renewal of an ordinance to permit for what is for all intents and purposes the sandwich signs on the sidewalks. I think that the staff and also the committee were in general agreement that particular temporary ordinance has sort of outlived its usefulness. Part of creating success is to actually manage it after the fact, and so the board had a very lively discussion about that ordinance. And as you know, the ordinance was previously adopted without any type of uniform criteria. So we have all sorts of plastic signs and metal signs and orange signs and chalkboards and things of that nature. So after a lively discussion, we came to the conclusion that should the CRA seek to reinstitute and reapprove that ordinance, that our recommendation would be that would require us to, or our recommendation would be that the CRA should consider having a uniform criteria, sort of a one-frame structure, and that merchants should pay a significant fee to participate in such a program. I believe the number that was discussed was $1,000 per year, which in the grand scheme of advertising is not a significant amount of money for what they're getting. And also that the sign criteria be strictly enforced with a significant fine for violators. Right now we sort of have a situation that if we didn't have the ordinance, the vendors or some tenants would put the signs out anyway, and we really don't have, code enforcement is overwhelmed as it is. We really don't have sort of a defined and criteria for sort of heavy fines in the case where people sort of abuse the ordinance, and it becomes a cat and mouse game with code enforcement. So assuming that there was a significant fee to defray the cost of perhaps another code enforcement agent or whatnot, that's what our recommendation to the CRA would be with regards to the renewal or any proposed renewal of this temporary, albeit a temporary ordinance. The other item that we discussed on the agenda was the very good idea of staff concerning unoccupied retail spaces within the downtown, and perhaps having some sort of paper or signage posted in the windows to basically sort of black out the dead look of vacant space. And one of the ideas that staff had come up with, which we thought was a great recommendation, was to use some of the graphics and some of the design elements that were originally prepared with regards to the pattern book, and use those on the windows. First of all, we've already paid for the graphics. And second of all, in addition to to Ruby Childers being the international event planner that she is, we also have a high-level graphics artist, and that being Ms. Cheese, who does a really good job on working with these things. So that's our recommendation in that regard, and that really concluded our meeting. If you have any questions, let me know.
Well, that's great. Members, any questions of Mr. Gromann? Okay, thank you, Mr. Gromann.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, members of the CRA. Glenn Gromann, 2201 Northwest Corporate Boulevard, Boca Raton, Florida. Insofar as I sit on various city boards, none of my comments reflect any official position of the city. I think this project is going to be the catalyst for a tremendous amount of positive growth in the way of for sale units. I think it's expertly designed. As we know, under the 4035 ordinance, which was adopted in 1992, that ordinance, in fact, permits buildings of 100 feet high, and that's the finished floor. There's actually ancillary uses of. There's some architectural elements to this which are somewhat higher than that. That being said, I think that Mr. Comparato should be commended for bringing such a project to the city. It is extremely difficult to obtain financing for for-sale products, and I would anticipate this product to be wildly successful, so successful I think that more would be in the offing. And as far as Mr. Vanderplug's work, I think that speaks for itself. This is an expertly designed building. He's done others in the city, many, many others. It's an absolutely beautiful product, and I think it will sell because of that beauty. So I fully support the project, and I would, urge you to vote for it. Thank you.